Welcome to Sacred Wandering with Keira Brinton. My friend, this is a corner of the world where time stops, where the noise in our minds quiet, where we have soft hearts and we open our palms and we ask. This is a place where we receive. I invite you to join me as we wander through the sacred together. Welcome to Sacred Wandering. Good morning, my love. I invite you to take a nice deep breath in with me, and we're going to breathe in the frequency of love. And as we breathe out, we're going to breathe out all the fear and all the stress that you might be feeling. So we're going to breathe in. I want you to breathe love into every single cell in your body. And as you breathe out, letting go of all the fear. And again. And out. One more. And out. There we go. Now that we can start in a frequency that matches God, for love is the frequency of God, we can stay in this space easier. It's very easy. It's very natural for fears to arrive. It's very natural for them to take us out, for the chatter in our brain to pull us from this frequency. But when we intentionally infuse our bodies with love, it allows us to stay in the presence of God with more ease. And so I'd love to begin today with reading to you a message that I received. And this message came on a day. Well, let's just get real. I have extremely high expectations for myself. It is my nature, and I can never accomplish or do all that I expect. And I get a little bit hard on myself. I don't know if you relate to that. But this message came in on such a day. These are the words that God said. Every time you see where you have dropped the ball, you have missed a cue, you have slipped and fell, speak to yourself the way you would to someone you love. Speak words of grace and belief. Show yourself all that you have done. This is what arrival feels like. And isn't that so true? Someone that we love, whether it be a partner, best friend, your children, and if they come to you and tell you, oh, I missed this deadline, or I missed this thing they were supposed to do, you wouldn't yell at them. You wouldn't get frustrated with them. Instead, you'd be like, oh, but my dear, look at all that you've done today. Look at all you have done. And because you've missed it doesn't mean it's over. You just get to do it. You would speak so kindly to them with so much grace and belief. And I love this message because it's the invitation for us to do the same to us. So as you walk about your day today, take note of how you speak to yourself. Take note to how then you respond when you mess up, when you don't meet the mark, when you drop a ball, because we are human. That is going to happen, right? So today we're going to go into prayer. And I think today's a generic day, yes? So I want you to pick up whatever it is that you need to give to God. And I'm going to give you an example. I I go through waves of giving everything to God and then trying to figure it all out on my own. And recently, I've been reminded to give it all to God. And the results are quite uh, amazing, really. For example, I was dating this man and I really liked him a lot. And I decided that I needed to know what God believed, what God thought about this relationship. And so for the first time, I think I ever really took my relationships to God and said, hey, if this isn't right, end it. And I just gave it to God. And I said, hey, I really like this man. If it's not right, then I need you to show me that. And within 2 hours, out of nowhere, this man broke up with me. Like we were doing so great. And he was like, I don't know why I'm breaking up with you. It just like, I just know I have to. And I was like, answer from God. Amazing. And then I've been having this horrible acne. I mean, I've never had acne like this in my life. Like it's just been like the chicken pox. And it's been 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I keep trying to figure out solutions and figure out solutions. And then last night I was like, oh my gosh, give it to God. And so I gave my acne to God last night. And I said, I need you to heal this. And I woke up this morning, and for the first time in 2 weeks, there was no new acne. And I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I give this to God earlier? And so I tell you these two stories because, well, sometimes we think we can only give God our biggest problems. Sometimes we try and solve everything on our own. But I'm just finding time and time again that every time I give anything to God, I start to see the results. Now, I didn't want the result of that man breaking up with me. I was very heartbroken. This was a few weeks ago when all of my blessings were about grief. I was just so heartbroken. But I had asked and I received. I received the truest answer, not the answer that I wanted. And so because I had asked, I was able to move through that heartbreak easier because I knew that it had been the answer to my prayers. And so I invite you today to pick up anything and give it into God. And know that if you do ask for an answer, you will receive. That doesn't mean it's always the answer that you want, but it will be the answer that's in your highest good. Okay? So I'm going to have you pick up whatever it is that we want to give into God, and you're going to put it into God. And I do that sound so that you can hear that like a relief, that when you hand things over to God, you get to feel relief. And then I'm going to ask that God will touch your cells, that your cells may match the frequency of your highest version, that your cells may match the frequency of miracles. We're going to breathe in and out. And I'm going to ask that God will place his hands on your head to give you a blessing, that you may receive the words that God has for you today. And I'll be quiet while you pray. Take a nice deep breath in, allowing God's words to be written within the very cells of your body, within the very belly of your heart. We're going to open our palms and ask God, what is the number one action that needs to be taken today? We're going to let it drop right into our hands. We ask that all of our angels and guides may help us take this action, that our angels will open up pathways for miracles, for love, for partnership, for creation, for wonder, for ease, for peace. And today, may today be a day where you remember to speak to yourself like those that you love. And that today, anytime something arrives that feels like you can't find the answer, maybe it feels heavy, maybe it doesn't, but you can't find the answer, I invite you to hand it to God and ask for your action. And as you do this, your partnership with God will strengthen. Clarity will arise and miracles will unfold. And with that, my love, I thank you for wandering into the sacred with me. And I will see you tomorrow morning in our prayer corner. Thank you for wandering into the sacred with me today. If this episode moved or inspired you, I encourage you to share it. Think of someone who needs this message today and text it to them. Let's add more light to the world by welcoming people into our prayer corner together. I also want to invite you to create your own prayer corner at home, a space set apart where you can return again and again to hear God's voice. To support you, I've created the Sacred Space course, which guides you step by step in locating, creating, and dedicating your very own sacred space. You're also welcome into the Sacred Wandering Facebook group, where you can share the blessings that God is giving you and be uplifted by others walking this path. You can find both of these resources in the show notes, or just send me a DM on Instagram at Keira Brinton, and me or my team will send them directly to you. I want to thank you for being one of the rare humans who chooses to sit at the foot of God, to ask, listen, and do. And as always, I want to thank you for wandering into the sacred with me.